in the brain, and this is the one that is relevant for today. And I'm going to go on to Psalm 29, verses 4 and 5, just a short one. And it goes like this. There's a lot of different things here, but it goes like this. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is full of majesty. The voice of the Lord breaks the cedars. Yes, the Lord splinters the cedars of Lebanon. And I think that's what happened on Saturday. Welcome to the Balagan Connection, where we're going to break down the latest and most important events happening in Israel. And on Saturday, Israel and Hezbollah came dangerously close to the brink of a major escalation that might have even threatened into becoming a major Middle East war. What exactly happened? What did not happen? And what can we expect next is what we want to talk about here. Let's start off with what happened. It was early Saturday morning when Lebanon woke up to major explosions in different parts of the country, including Beirut, the capital. Almost immediately, sirens started wailing across northern Israel from the western Mediterranean coast to the Golan Heights. And the immediate fear was that the Hezbollah was launching the major retaliation, the major attack that they had promised, potentially even leading to a full-scale war between Israel and the Hezbollah that might spread out to a war between us and everybody else. But as with many things in this region, the answer to whether this was the big balagan that everybody was waiting for is yes and no. So what exactly was going on? Israel intelligence did pick up signs of a major long-range attack being prepared by Hezbollah. This attack was supposed to target the Tel Aviv area, particularly some very important military bases. And this is the kind of attack that would have been the punishment that the Hezbollah had promised in retaliation for the assassination of their head of military operations in Beirut almost 3 weeks ago. But Israel caught wind of the plan in time, and the Air Force was sent in to neutralize the threat, taking out the missile launchers before they could fire. In other words, the attack was foiled. In other words, God broke the cedars of Lebanon before it even began. And by the grace of God, a potential disaster was averted. But the Hezbollah didn't only sit quietly after that. They fired about 250 short-range rockets into northern Israel. A sadly normal balagan, we're used to that. Out of those 250 rockets, Israel's Iron Dome intercepted probably about 230. The remaining rockets fell in open areas, causing no significant damage. But in a tragic twist, one Israeli soldier was killed when an Iron Dome interceptor, attempting to shoot down the drone, accidentally struck a small patrol boat off the Mediterranean coast. As a result of the rocket fire, Ben Gurion Airport was closed down for a couple of hours, causing a major balagan that lasted basically only a few hours, but will ripple out to a much longer period of time. So that is basically what happened. And now the Hezbollah has publicly declared that they had hit the high-value targets that they had wanted to hit in the Tel Aviv area, claiming that this is the end of their retaliation. They've done enough. But here's where the balagan starts, because the Hezbollah didn't hit any targets in Tel Aviv. The only significant damage in Israel was a chicken farm in a community called Mesilot, where approximately 50 chickens were killed. Yes, you heard that right, chickens. And this has led to the widespread ridicule of Hezbollah, and in particular their leader, Hassan Nasrallah, who is now being mocked and referred to as the great killer of Zionist chickens. And social media has been, exploding with a lot of fun about that. This is a good example of the difference between their bark and their bite. But beyond the humor, there are serious questions about what this incident actually means in the broader conflict. And I'm sorry to say, it really doesn't mean all that much, because nothing really has changed. We're still in the same situation. For one, the situation in Gaza has now slowed to a war of attrition, if you can call it that way. And though Israel currently holds the Philadelphia corridor, which is the strip of land between Egypt and Gaza, they haven't fully secured the town of Rafah, which remains Hamas's main stronghold in Gaza. In the meantime, there's negotiations between Israel and Hamas that are being mediated by Egypt, Qatar, and the United States. They're still ongoing, though, according to what I heard about an hour ago, they've probably broken up. But neither side really seems willing to sign the final agreement that would lead to a ceasefire and a resolution of this whole issue, including the release of the hostage. Meanwhile, both Iran and Hezbollah, essentially two sides of the same coin, have stated that they're holding back their most significant military assets, waiting to see what comes out of these negotiations. This waiting game only adds to the tension and to the tenacity of everything that's going on. Everybody is on the edge, anticipating what might happen next. The United States of America is deeply involved in this process too. And as we speak, the United States Chief of Staff is in Israel, and Blinken, your Secretary of State, is shuttling back and forth between the key players trying to broker a deal. The U.S. stance has been made clear. They are prepared to support Israel in any defensive actions should Iran or others attack, but they are not endorsing or accepting any offensive moves by Israel. Now, this is a balagan for Israel because we need our enemies to know that we can hurt them. And if we can't offensively attack them, then they're just taking into consideration that they're the ones who decide when and what everything is going to happen. That is a problem for Israel. They're hoping that a diplomatic win in the Middle East could sway the elections in their directions. But as always in this region, things are never that simple. So that's the situation more or less on what's going on. On a more personal note, I just want to kind of put it together. Me and Christy are now in the States. We just got back from a vacation in Hawaii, and we'll be sharing a little bit. I'll be sharing a little bit of my experiences. Pearl Harbor was a deeply profound experience for me. We're back in LA. Speaking engagements have coming up, but it looks like the trip that we were planning to Israel this September will have to be postponed due to the whole balagan going on. So we'll be staying in the States for now with several speaking engagements lined up. And we are planning a trip to the Eastern Seaboard to share insights and the story of Israel with churches that have reached out. So again, like I've said before, if you're interested, if you know of a church, if you're interested in us kind of connection to this, let us know. The events of the past Saturday have shown just how close the region is to a full-scale war and how quickly things can escalate or de-escalate with the right mixture of military action, luck, and grace of God. The situation is all fluid right now, so I need you to keep Israel in your prayers. Keep Israel in your prayers. My family is still in Israel. My nephew is still in Gaza as we speak. And this situation is moving very, very quickly, and nobody really understands what the next stage is going to be. Only God knows how this is all going to play out.